This is what a lot of folks wanted, right? The gloves being taken off, the disrespect, the ending of the warning shots. Both Drake and Kendrick have totally disregarded Tony Montana's edict and Scarface about not involving the women and children because women and children are catching strays left and right on these two tracks. Before I break down these diss tracks, I want to say that there are some wild allegations from both Drake and Kendrick, allegations that no one can confirm yet. There's no receipts. It's just something to consider. Before we dive into these tracks, y'all, starting with Drake's Family Matters, this is Drizzy's response to both Euphoria and 616 in LA. You get 3 beat shifts here, and all of them sounded better than the instrumentals on Euphoria, in my opinion. And overall, sonically, I feel this is a great follow-up to his record Push Ups. There is that song structure and the club appeal that you can expect from Drizzy Drake. Let's talk about the first beat. It sounds very evil. It's almost like something you would hear in Houston playing late night as the Mob Ties was doing their business down there. Drake spends some of the first verse calling out Kendrick for not being the street guy he claims to be, calls him a civilian. And that's not to say that Kendrick ever really claimed to be about that life like that. But as of late, Kendrick has been doubling down on the street card against Drake. So I think it's fair that he brings it up. And J. Cole just catches a funny stray. Cole losing sleep on this. It ain't me. Following this are some bars that are dope, but they won't be well received by some people. Always rapping like you about to get the slaves freed. You just acting like an activist. It's make-believe. Don't even go back to your hood and plant no money tree. Okay, so the money trees reference was fire, suggesting that Kendrick doesn't give back to Compton. And the line about him being a fake activist is fair, even though Kendrick has never professed to be an activist, but he might be considered one to some fans, or at least one could say that he is going to give off more of those activist vibes than some rapper. You know, he definitely cares about cultural issues more than some. We can say that. But the line about Kendrick rapping like he's about to get the slaves freed, that's going to be looked at as super disrespectful. Like, come on, Drake, you gotta read the room. Then Drake goes on to talk about Kendrick wifing up a biracial woman, despite Kendrick being ultra pro-black. He alleges that Kung Fu Kenny is raising a son that's not even his. He's claiming that Kendrick's son actually belongs to his homie and business partner, Dave Free. This followed by a sexy red like hook poking fun at Drake's son and Dave Freed. It was kind of funny. And then there's some more short jokes that are witty. But on the second verse, we get a shift into more trap territory. Now on this verse, Drake is mostly going at Ross, The Weeknd, and A$AP Rocky. And while a part of me understands why he may have felt the need to go back and want to murk them one last time, but I still feel that he shouldn't have talked about these folks on this track because they are irrelevant to the Kendrick beef at this point. Wherever you're at, I am not trying to hear about Ross, A$AP Rocky, The Weeknd, respectfully. So that was really my only gripe about this track. I feel he did waste some of the second verse doing that. But there is a part on the second verse where Drake claims that Kendrick has had bars written for him from Baby Keem. Now on the third verse, we get a fire instrumental that has some playful strings, and Drake sets it off with some hilarious lines. Kendrick just opened his mouth. Someone go hand him a Grammy right now. Because we know exactly who he's talking about. The pretentious pitchfork like crew. Drake also states that Kendrick lied about him doing a cease and desist. Rather, Drake contends that Kendrick was the one who actually called Tupac's estate to take down that tailor-made freestyle. We just don't know what to believe at this point. Drake then has a witty line regarding the kids again. Our son should go play at the park. 2 light-skinned kids, that would be cute. Drake then goes on to attack Kendrick's street cred some more with the lines, Yeah, we get that you think you Bishop from Juice. But it gets more wild, y'all, as Drake claims that Kendrick beats his girl. When you put your hands on your girl as a self-defense because she's bigger than you. Drake follows that up, asserting that Kendrick hired a crisis management team to clean up the wife beating allegations. So overall, I thought this Drake track was a dope diss record and one that Drake needed to deliver. And I think it's a very worthy response to Kendrick's two previous diss tracks. It's witty, it's disrespectful, dark, but bouncy, and I feel it checked off on the boxes that makes Drake a good hit maker. I'll say this, if I woke up only hearing this song from Drake, then I would say that Drake owned The Weeknd. I'm not talking about the musician, of course. But then Kendrick had to be the ultra menace and drop his diss record, about 20 minutes later, entitled Meet the Grams. All right, so this is clearly the most disrespectful we have ever seen Kendrick Lamar in life. We get a minimalist Alchemist instrumental that is very chilling yet soulful. The piano is straight out of a horror flick, very Hitchcock-like vibe. As a whole, it is a dope instrumental that has a much different energy sonically than the Drake record. This one is much slower, darker, and more demented. Kendrick creatively pens these letters to Drake's family members. He has a letter addressed to Adonis, Drake's mom and dad, the alleged daughter that Drake has been hiding, and to Drizzy himself. And it does depict Kendrick as this creative, evil genius who is pushing buttons, but it also does seem very Pusha T inspired. We can't ignore that, especially the portion where he suggests that Drake has a daughter that the world does not know of. And there are some wild accusations on this track, definitely more over the top ones than what Drake had implied to keep it a buck. So the first letter to Adonis is very disrespectful. He's coming at Adonis like this mentor, telling him a lot of superstars are real, but your daddy ain't one of them. Then he goes at Drake's mom and dad with some super disrespectful lines about them raising a master manipulator who gambles excessively, likes underage girls, and pops a lot of pills. But Kendrick's most hateful bar out of the batch would have to be, Sandra, your son's a sick man with sick thoughts. I think dudes like him should die. I think dudes like him should die. Come on, fam. Like, for those who believe that Kendrick is this pure cultural figure who constantly uplifts the community, what y'all thinking about this type of rhetoric here? He's saying he should die. He goes on to talk about Drake being a pedophile and that he should do time with Harvey Weinstein. Just wild allegations with no proof yet. Then he pens a letter to Drake's alleged daughter. It's all crazy. And on the last portion, Kenny comes at Drake, directly assassinating his character some more and ending the track with a gut-punching line, F a rap battle, this a long life battle with yourself. So my overall thoughts on these two tracks was that it was a lot to digest. Both records were very dark and disrespectful. I feel Drake had the better song and less allegations, even though there are some ones that Kendrick will have to address. If Drake has to address them, then Kendrick should as well. I like the Alchemist beat, and I liked Kendrick's creativity, but until, we get some proof, a lot of these are some unfounded claims. But I also feel that Kendrick's diss does put a major dent in Drake's weekend, and he's likely going to be a voice in Drake's head for the next few days, because Kendrick Lamar's response was beyond the level of disrespect that we typically see, and there's really no coming back from a lot of what he said. And I think it does put Drizzy Drake in a challenging position, because I'm sure he's tempted to strike quickly in anger. I mean, if you were Drake, you would probably want the fair one ASAP, right there on the street. But instead, Drake, he should take some time calculating his next response, because Kendrick is probably up in the battle due to this record, even though We still don't know what's true and what isn't. But in the world of public perception, tweets on social media, Drake has a problem that he has to address, and he's got to address it kind of quickly. And historically, in politics and in life in general, if you already have to spend too much time explaining yourself, you're already losing. It's not to say that Kendrick should be exempt from having to explain things that Drake addressed, but I can see more people just blindly believing the stuff about Drake. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. It's your boy Mixtape Moth. As always, it's peace and blessings. I'm signing out.